Hi, welcome to Losing Faith, Finding Spirit. We're talking about relationship red flags, things to look out for to identify toxic, abusive, and narcissistic relationships. Today's red flag is taking up your time. In my experience with a emotionally abusive, toxic, narcissistic person, one of the key manipulation tactics that he would use is devaluing my time and using my time, taking it up. Now, this starts off kind of small and it seems kind of sweet at the beginning. I've mentioned this in previous posts and things that at the beginning it was all like, you can't leave, we need to have this discussion, we need to finish talking, which really was, we need to finish arguing and fighting. You can't leave the house, you can't go to work, you cannot, we are going to finish this. I'm not leaving until we finish this, was what he would say. And when he said those things, he would try to make it sound like he valued the relationship or whatever we were arguing about more than anything else. And that's what he would say. Is you're more important. This conversation is more important. I don't want us to be mad at each other. You can't leave until, I am satisfied, basically. I see it now. At the time, that's not what was said, but I see it now. So at the start, it felt like, they're trying to resolve some issues. They don't, that whole don't go to bed angry. That's bull honky. You can go to bed angry. You can go to bed. You know what? Your time, your sleep, your sanity is more important than anger. You'll get over the anger. Anger is a fleeting emotion. And if you're angry, it's fine. If you're in a healthy relationship, you can be angry one night, you can sleep on it, and wake up the next morning, maybe have a fresh idea of what's going on. Maybe have a better, outlook after getting a good night's sleep. Maybe you won't feel as angry the next day. That's healthy. That's fine. You can take your time to digest and absorb and understand your own emotions. You don't have to figure it out right now in this moment. A narcissist, a toxic person, an emotionally abusive person wants your every moment. They want it right now, this moment. They can't wait. And if you ask to wait, they demand your time. They demand your time. I've seen and heard from other self-aware narcissists and people who discuss narcissism that one of the biggest manipulations that these kinds of people, emotionally abusive, toxic people do is keep you up at night. They don't value your time. And I know I lived this, and I can't even explain to you how many 4 a.m. conversations I had in the almost 20 years we were together. That I was just being argued at, and I was exhausted. And no matter how many times I said, I need to get some sleep, this can wait. Can we just talk about this later? Can we talk about this tomorrow? Can I get some time to think about this? And it didn't matter what we were talking about. And I would go through all of the emotions, all of the cycle of emotions, which is the trauma bonding experience that we've talked about. And I'd come out of the conversation thinking, maybe he loves me, I'm so important to him, he won't let me go. Now I know it was controlling and demanding on his point. It wasn't sweet and nice. It was manipulative. It was demanding. My time, my emotions, my experiences were not of value to him. They didn't matter. I didn't matter. What mattered was whatever he was feeling in that moment and the need that he had to have that fight and argument to dispel whatever emotions and things he was dealing with. It wasn't about me. It wasn't even about whatever the topic of argument was. And it took me almost 20 years to realize that. It took me a long time to realize that, because you're getting that cycle and you get questioning yourself, you doubt your reality. So as a fair warning, right now, make your time part of your boundaries. You have to value your time. and not let anybody try to rob it. And if somebody doesn't value your time, and even at work, like if you're supposed to clock out at a certain time and your boss wants you to stay an extra 10 minutes to wrap something up, or your boss is asking you to come in when you've said, no, that's not okay. You have your rules, you have your things. And unless it's within your contract or within your understanding of the job when you were first hired, that you would be asked to do overtime and extra things, you don't have to put up with that. You are going to burn yourself out at your job. You're going to burn yourself out in this relationship if you keep letting somebody take your time. And they will take your time. Another thing that my ex did was, if I said no and I was done and I wouldn't say anything, he would start sending me emails or messages on Facebook or texts, and he would barrage me with those things after I said we're done talking about this. So he wouldn't let it go and kept chasing me. And if he couldn't chase me in physical person, he would chase me with calling and doing that, and he wouldn't let things go. That was the biggest thing that I think, it's the most suffocating thing, and it's terrifying because you feel like you can't escape. Don't get to that point. Don't let it get to that point for you. I don't want that for you. I don't want you to feel stuck and trapped and be chased around and yelled at like that, like I did. So if you start noticing somebody doesn't value your time, you need to start considering that this is not a healthy thing. Healthy things, healthy relationships. Let's talk about some healthy. A healthy relationship is somebody who sends you a message or calls and leaves a message. They text you or send you a message through one of your other apps. And they're like, hey, I have a question for you. Here's my question. Let me know what you think. And then they wait and they don't bother you. And they know that if you don't get to it right away, that you're fine. And you know that you see that message and you're like, oh, I need to answer this question. I'll get to it when I have some time later. And you'll eventually get to it and answer it. And then they'll thank you for answering the question and move on. A healthy relationship doesn't mind distance and time and space. Healthy relationships understand that you have a life outside of them. A healthy relationship understands that you probably have things going on in your life, and a healthy relationship trusts that when you have the time, because you have such a good relationship with each other, you'll get to it. You'll talk to them. You'll put that time and effort into it, and it'll be rewarding and good. Unhealthy relationships, emotionally abusive relationships, toxic relationships cannot wait. They don't take time. They steal the time from you. They demand the time from you. They want your energy. They want your time. They want your attention. It's basically like, think of a little kid who's being neglected and they demand attention. And they keep bugging you and pestering you, and they won't leave you alone. That is how they are. Because remember, we've talked about they are emotionally stunted and immature. They can't self-regulate. They never developed that self-regulation to have control, to understand and trust other people, because they can't trust themselves, and they probably are not doing healthy choices towards you in the dark. I mean, let's be real. They're probably not making the best choices. So somewhere inside, there's probably some guilt. There's a lot of shame. Narcissistic shame is a big one. That's the trigger for all of the bad behavior, is shame. So they have guilt. They feel like they're insecure. They're afraid. And so what they do is they lash out, they cling, they get clingy. And clinging is not healthy. Codependency is not healthy. And that's why I've told you before too, to make sure that you check your own self. Do you start feeling this way? Do you feel like you need their time? Do you get jealous? Do you feel that you can't survive without spending all this time with them? That's also a sign to check within yourself. Is this a healthy relationship? Are you relying too much on them? Are you codependent? Are you entangling yourself? You can only control you. And if you notice that you're doing those patterns, start doing the work, find out the root of those codependency within yourself, work on it. That's going to help you get more confident and secure so that you can detangle yourself and you can start to identify other patterns if this is a toxic, abusive relationship. You'll be able to be aware of it. You have to get through your own self-healing to break free. So pay attention to the people who value your time and devalue your time and demand your time. Don't give them your time. Don't give them your power. You are worthy of making your own boundaries. Your boundaries should be respected. That's healthy. That's fine. Everybody has boundaries and they need to be respected. You deserve the best. I wish you well. Thanks for listening. Bye.